It begins not with a warning but with a deluge, an avalanche of affection so intense it feels like a fairy tale. But as psychologist Dr. Alaina Tiani explains, this is often not love, it's a strategy. The ultimate goal is not just to seek love, but to gain control. Friendship is difficult for men. For every man who can claim a decent male friend, there's at least 8 who know they have none that truly merit the term. Women rate men on clipboards, giving them numbers like livestock. One man, decent looking, stable job, genuine personality, gets only a 4 or 5 out of 10. Some women boast about dysfunction as if it were a badge of honor. Cheating on boyfriends, slashing exes' tires, dating 3 guys at once. These women rate a man on appearance and status, but dismiss him when he doesn't match their superficial standards. When they don't get what they want, they blame the man. A man is rejected because his 5-year-old Honda isn't impressive enough for her Instagram photos. Despite owning his condo, having no debt, and saving 30% of his income, he's dismissed. Some women carry long lists of requirements: height, income, career, car, house, style, humor, ambition. But when men express preferences, they're labeled unrealistic or toxic. When men refuse to tolerate public humiliation and walk away from disrespect, some women are shocked. They've been taught that men should handle everything: emotions, outbursts, drama. Men are expected to accept the emotional labor of the relationship while receiving little in return. When they speak up, they are called weak or selfish. Some women prioritize superficial relationships, broadcasting their personal chaos while wondering why they struggle to find genuine, stable partners. Some women refuse to date men under 6 feet tall. Even though height is something unchangeable, they won't accept the same standards they set for men. Men are often dismissed when they share their emotional needs, expected to always provide without receiving the same care or consideration in return. Men realize that the pursuit isn't always reciprocated. When they stop trying, they're often misunderstood, but it's because the effort was never appreciated. Some women judge men by what they own, not who they are. A reliable car isn't enough. Only luxury cars and flashy status symbols make the cut. Some women expect to be treated like queens, but they offer nothing but their presence in return. Yet men are expected to provide constant validation and support. In the digital age, women have access to endless options. But when men express their preferences for a woman who brings value to the relationship, they're branded as shallow. Women have no problem voicing their laundry list of requirements, but when men express their desires, they're labeled as toxic or unrealistic. When men stop chasing and refuse to beg for attention, the response from some women is shock. They're not used to men who choose to walk away instead of pursuing endlessly. Some women seek constant excitement and drama, while men prefer stability and calm. But when men express this desire for peace, they're told they're boring or too passive. When women reject men based on superficial traits like height, it's accepted. But when men admit they have preferences, suddenly they're labeled as shallow or unreasonable. Some women post filtered, staged images on dating apps, expecting men to be impressed. But when the truth is revealed, the reactions are often filled with anger or embarrassment. When men try to improve their appearance or refine their skills, some women dismiss their efforts as unworthy, as if their worth isn't tied to effort, but instead to unachievable standards. Some women expect men to meet their ever-growing list of standards, but when men express their own preferences, they're met with resistance or rejection. Women are bombarded with unrealistic relationship goals on social media. But when men refuse to meet these fantasy ideals, they're accused of being emotionally unavailable. When men express that they don't want to financially support a partner who isn't contributing equally, they are often labeled as cheap or selfish, even though they're simply setting boundaries. Some women value men based on material success, expecting them to own the perfect home, car, and career. But when men express their value in different ways, they're often dismissed. Some women think that if a man doesn't chase them, it's a sign of weakness. But in reality, he may just be tired of the games and unwilling to invest in a relationship that lacks reciprocity. When women expect constant emotional labor and validation from men without offering anything in return, they wonder why men stop pursuing. When men offer genuine gestures of affection, only to be met with indifference, it becomes clear that love isn't always the focus, it's control and validation. Men are often expected to be available 24/7, responding immediately to messages. But when they set boundaries, they're labeled as disinterested or unavailable. When women focus solely on their appearance but neglect emotional growth or personal connection, they wonder why they can't find a man who stays. When men stop chasing after emotional chaos and start walking away, they are often met with confusion or anger, but they know it's time to take control of their own peace. Some women want attention from multiple sources, but when men refuse to compete for their affection, they accuse them of being weak or uninterested. Women often measure their worth through social media validation, but when men point out the superficial nature of this, they're told they don't understand the new world. The digital age has allowed people to collect endless options, but when men explain they prefer genuine connection over endless swiping, they're labeled old-fashioned. When men express frustration with the lack of real communication in modern relationships, they're often ignored or misunderstood. The value of genuine conversation is lost in the noise. When a woman focuses on external validation but doesn't work on personal growth or emotional maturity, it leaves men feeling disconnected and unappreciated. When men express their needs and are rejected or told they don't deserve anything, it creates emotional walls that prevent real connection. Time is often a factor in relationships. Some women focus on building a career while others try to avoid facing the biological clock. Men see this as a reality, but some women are in denial until it's too late. Men who prioritize personal growth and intellect often find themselves alone, as some women focus only on physical attraction without understanding the deeper values of a partner. Women often want men to act immediately, but when men set their own pace, they're accused of being lazy or uninterested. When men express frustration over emotional distance and lack of genuine conversation, they are often dismissed as being overly sensitive or critical. When some women set rigid, superficial standards like height, men are made to feel inadequate even though these standards are often unspoken and unrealistic. When women focus on physical appearance and the number on a scale, it affects their relationship with men who are seeking deeper emotional connections, not just external beauty. Some women are more interested in their phones than in building a meaningful connection. Men, seeking genuine conversation, feel dismissed when they're not the priority. When men prioritize intellectual growth or self-improvement, they are often dismissed by women who only value outward appearances or material success. Men face a decision in modern dating: follow the loud, flashy path or walk a quiet, peaceful one. The latter is often seen as boring, but it offers true contentment. When women place themselves on a pedestal, expecting men to worship them without offering anything in return, the relationship becomes one-sided and unsustainable. When men choose to walk away from relationships that drain them emotionally, they're met with confusion and frustration, as if they were expected to sacrifice their happiness. When men prioritize stability and emotional fulfillment over material wealth, they are often misunderstood, while some women chase superficial social media ideals. When men see unrealistic dating profiles online, they start to question what truly matters in relationships: appearances or substance. When men bring up the future expecting real plans, some women respond with disinterest, as if time doesn't matter in their relationships. Men often find themselves on the outside, watching as women chase external validation and ignore the true connections that are right in front of them. Some women walk past solid, stable men seeking excitement or drama, but when they realize their mistake, it's often too late. When men choose peace and solitude over constant drama, they find strength in their own company, even when others fail to understand their choices. Men often find themselves isolated in relationships, watching as women get caught up in digital distractions rather than engaging in genuine connection. When men stop chasing after fleeting desires and choose the path of self-improvement, it can feel like they're walking away from everything. But in reality, they're walking toward something better. When women focus on perfecting their appearance without considering the emotional connection, men start to realize that beauty without depth is hollow. Some women prioritize their phones over the people around them, and men begin to feel that their presence doesn't matter if it's not acknowledged. When men seek emotional intimacy and connection, but women are distracted by external validation, they start to wonder if anyone is truly listening. When men invest in their intellectual growth, but women remain fixated on external appearances, the divide in priorities becomes clear. When men stop chasing after unreciprocated affection and decide to walk away, they realize that sometimes letting go is the best decision. When women set rigid standards based on height, weight, or appearance, men begin to realize that some women are more interested in their type than in genuine connection. Some men realize that no matter how hard they try to connect, they're simply invisible to the women who are preoccupied with seeking attention from everyone else. When men focus on building a future and achieving success, they sometimes find themselves isolated as the women they meet are focused on immediate gratification rather than long-term goals. When women are so consumed with external validation that they miss the genuine connections right in front of them, it leaves men feeling unimportant and invisible. Some men feel invisible when their partners prioritize distractions over building a meaningful connection. When this happens repeatedly, it leads to emotional withdrawal. Some women seek validation through social media, while men seeking emotional intimacy begin to question the value of a relationship built on superficiality. When men choose to walk alone, pursuing their own goals and peace, they leave behind the chaos and unrealistic expectations of others. When women focus on their appearance but neglect emotional depth, men realize that the relationship lacks the substance required for long-term connection. When both partners fail to communicate and meet each other's needs, the relationship becomes like an abandoned house, full of potential but left to decay. When men finally choose to walk away from toxic dynamics and set boundaries, they find strength in their independence, no longer afraid to embrace the truth.